And once you've decided, okay, I've got my ideal client, and you've written all that out and what that looks like, then you can figure out, what do you provide? Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the mayor here with another 3-minute video. We are in a series on commercial insurance, and we are talking about how to prospect for commercial insurance. And I truly believe that before you can start prospecting, you've got to figure out who your ideal client is and what that looks like before you can go out and prospect. Before you, like, who do you want to prospect to, right? In order to do that, you've got to figure out what that looks like. And so some of you are like, where do you start? And a lot of times you could start by prospecting in your own current book of business. I really feel like that if you just look, it's right underneath your nose. You can look for common trends within your own book of business. You can look for certain things that stand out, like carriers in your agency, and you can look at that and see what their appetites are, what they want to write. You can look at, maybe in your book of business you didn't realize, but maybe you have a large book of restaurants or contractors, or you might have some hotels in your book. Whatever the class of business might be, like, oh, I didn't realize that. Maybe I should start targeting more of those. We've had a high success rate on those. Look at the hit ratio on some of those, and some of those you may have a lot of them, but maybe you don't have the best hit ratio on them. You just happen to have some of those, or maybe it's changed. Maybe some of those clients are on there, but the hit ratios are lower because maybe the carriers have changed their appetite. Whatever that may be, look in your current book of business and figure out some of those trends that stand out to you. I think by diving into that current book, some of those things, like I said, will jump out. Some of those things you dig for a little bit. And I think you should look into your carrier's appetite guides, what they want to write. Look at all those things. And then once you figure that out, and once you've decided, okay, I've got my ideal client, and you've written all that out and what that looks like, then you can figure out, what do you provide? What specifically do you have at your disposal? What tools do you have in your toolbox that would make sense for you to prospect to some of those clients? Educational. Maybe you look at some resources that you have. Always look at some of those things, training opportunities you have. Look at how much time you have to go after some of those. Let's start with the educational piece. Most of the time, you're talking to people that are not licensed insurance professionals. So you can go in and educate them on certain coverages that you can offer them to help them out. You can help them with different tools you can offer them to help them with their book of business. And some of the examples you can use for education is, maybe you do policy reviews, maybe you do newsletters, webinars, podcasts, maybe you do YouTube videos, on certain topics that you could then, use in marketing to those people to make them better prospects for you, that they would want to do business with you because you're providing them that education. Resources you can bring to the table. You can bring certain value to the table by doing some safety trainings. Maybe you do compliance checks, employee handbooks, that's a big one, and telematics, things like that. You can do certain trainings. You can look for OSHA compliance trainings, ladder safety, lifting, whatever that class may be. Find out what trainings you can offer them. And I think that goes right along with it. Before you can start doing some of those things, and before you can start prospecting to those, you got to figure out what you have to offer so you can build your value proposition to those deal clients. I think you've got to start there before you can move into some of the other things we'll talk about as we go on throughout this week. I really hope that this 3-minute video has helped you. Stay tuned for more as we talk about prospecting for commercial insurance. Also, guys, don't forget, we just dropped our new Apex commercial course. Take a look at that. You've got till the end of July to get our discount. Take advantage of that as well. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.